and a self-made woman who didn't have time for men. Rose's best friend. Sophie was the exact opposite of Rose in almost every way. Her hard work paid off when she landed a major deal for her fintech company. So she and Sophie flew to Zanzibar, an island paradise to escape the frenzy of work.
Secretly met in hotels randomly and have sex multiple times. I hope Frank is not someone you like or you would come to like in the future. She had asked her, I don't like. Do you regret it? Taking everything from me?
Rose had always been a woman of conviction, 30 years old, a marketing manager at a successful fintech company, and a self-made woman who didn't have time for men. Her career was everything to her, her purpose. She believed in independence, in strength, in standing apart from the expectations of society. Men, they were nothing but distractions. They're here to use you, she would say, her voice sharp, dismissing any romantic notions that came her way. But then there was Sophie, Rose's best friend. Sophie was the exact opposite of Rose in almost every way. A hopeless romantic, Sophie loved men, loved the idea of love, and yearned for a connection she hadn't yet found.
Tall buildings, as the chemicals, they take us higher.
At 31, she was still single, but she wasn't giving up. She believed in the beauty of romance, of finding the one person who could complete her. One evening, over wine, they sat down for their usual heart-to-heart. Sophie sips wine, leaning forward, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Sophie: So Rose, tell me, don't you ever feel lonely? All those nights alone in your apartment, no one to share your day with? Rose rolls her eyes, but there's a faint smile playing at the corner of her lips. Rose: Lonely? I'm never lonely. I have my work, my career. That's all I need. Sophie laughs, shaking her head. Sophie: That's the thing with you, Rose. You think love is a distraction. Men, they're just a convenience for you, right? Rose: Exactly. They come, they go. But work stays. Work makes you strong. Sophie: Well, I don't agree. I believe in love. I want a man who will hold me at night, someone who cares, someone who wants to be there through thick and thin. Rose's face hardens slightly, the mask of indifference returning. Rose: And what happens when that man decides he doesn't want to be there anymore? What happens when they break your heart? Or worse, use you? Sophie shrugs, unconcerned, almost dreamy-eyed. Sophie: Then I get up, dust myself off, and keep looking. There's always someone out there, right? The two women exchange a long look. They've had this conversation 1,000 times, but neither could sway the other. Months later, Rose's career soared. Her hard work paid off when she landed a major deal for her fintech company with the federal government. It was a deal no one thought possible. Her boss praised her, and before she knew it, Rose was offered a promotion, a salary boost, and a massive recognition. A celebration followed at the office, a toast in her honor. But that wasn't enough for Rose. She needed a real getaway. So she and Sophie flew to Zanzibar, an island paradise to escape the frenzy of work. The music shifts to lively, celebratory tones. Zanzibar was everything Rose needed: the beaches, the sun, the endless cocktails. It was a moment of pure bliss. Sophie, as always, was the life of the party, dancing, laughing, and enjoying the attention of the men who admired her. Rose, on the other hand, was content to sit back, sipping her drink, eyes scanning the horizon. There was nothing for her here, or so she thought. But the vacation ended and they returned to the grind. The office was buzzing with energy after Rose's big win. But something had changed. There was a new face in the marketing department, a young man, Frank, hired as the assistant marketing manager. Sophie leans back in her chair, noticing Frank across the office. He was handsome, confident, and seemingly intelligent. Rose, as usual, was distant, unaffected. But Frank had something different. There was something about him that caught Rose's attention, a spark, a challenge. Frank quickly proved his worth, his charm making waves in the office. He was eager, talented, and everyone loved him. Except Rose. She couldn't stand the way people fawned over him, the way his smile made her feel vulnerable. One day, as they sat for lunch in the break room, Frank approached Rose. He didn't know it yet, but he was stepping into dangerous waters. Frank, "Hey, Rose, I just wanted to say I really admire your work. You're kind of a legend around here." Rose looked up at him, her gaze cold and unreadable. "Rose? Thanks, I'm just doing my job."
Frank, I like you. I don't know if it is appropriate for me to say, but I am a goal-getter. That is why I am telling you, Rose. I am not interested. But thank you. Actually, my friend is single. Maybe you two could hook up. Frank smiled, unbothered. All right, if you say so. Rose made an evening date reservation for 3 and introduced Frank and Sophie together. Frank, nice to meet with you. His eyes lights up and a warm smile appeared. Sophie, always eager to engage, leaned forward. Her eyes sparkled as she spoke with Frank. There was an easy chemistry between them, and they started seeing each other from that day. Sophie and Frank quickly became inseparable. He showered her with attention, taking her out on dates, buying her gifts, making her feel like the center of his world. Rose watched from the sidelines, pretending to be indifferent. But deep down, something twisted inside her. Sophie on some occasions will tell her how Frank treats her, how he flaunts her to his friends, and how good he was in bed. Of course, Rose started to imagine herself in her friend's shoes. A taste of Frank would not be bad at all. The more Frank gave Sophie attention, the more Rose's jealousy simmered beneath the surface. She couldn't ignore the feelings anymore. The walls she'd built around herself started to crack. Then she sought to have what her friend was enjoying. Sophie and Frank's relationship blossomed, and Rose could no longer pretend. The temptation was too great. She decided to stall a document for a project that was working on, obviously to keep him back at the office till nighttime. Frank was someone that always finished his work, so he stayed to look for the document to avoid query from the CEO. After a series of searching, Rose opted to help him search, and within minutes, everyone left the office, and she found herself alone with Frank in the office. "This is the perfect time," he said to herself. "Rose. Frank, is this the document?" she said, waving the paper to him. Frank was relieved. He came close to Rose and said, "Frank, Rose, I know things have been complicated between us, but I think you're incredible. You've always been so strong, so independent. Thank you so much for helping me." Rose's breath caught in her throat. She had pushed him away before, but now the game had changed. Without thinking, Rose leaned in. She kissed him. It was brief, intense, and electric. Frank pulled away, conflicted, but he was already lost. The next few days were filled with stolen moments and secret meetings. They secretly met in hotels randomly and have sex, multiple times. On one occasion, Sophie was coming out of a supermarket and saw Frank and Rose coming out of a hotel, like they were a couple. She got mad. Sophie, heartbroken and betrayed, was very angry. She swore she doesn't like him, Sophie said. Sophie, on 1 or 2 occasions, even before her relationship with Frank became serious, had asked Rose over and over again, "I hope Frank is not someone you like or you would come to like in the future." She had asked her, "I don't like him, not even interested in men at the moment," Rose had answered. Now the story had changed. Frank and Rose, the 2 people she trusted the most, her world shattered. Sophie's pain turned into fury. She couldn't believe it. Rose, her best friend, had done this to her. Sophie, the woman who believed in love, was now forced to confront the cruelty of betrayal. Sophie made her move. She started to play Frank's emotions, reminding him of all the things he had promised her, all the love he had shown her. And with a cold, calculating precision, she made sure Rose knew exactly how it felt to lose someone she cared about. One night, in a secluded park near their apartment, Sophie confronted Rose. Her eyes were filled with rage. Sophie. You think you can take everything from me, Rose? You think you're untouchable? Well, look where that got you. Rose stood, stunned, as Sophie pulled out a gun. The cold steel glinted in the moonlight. Rose, Sophie, don't. Please, this isn't you. I'm so sorry, I didn't know what came over me, she cried, looking terrified. Sophie, this is me, Rose. You wanted to play with people's hearts? Now you get to see what it feels like. Sophie pointed the gun at Rose's chest, her hand shaking but determined. Rose's world stopped. Time seemed to stretch, the air thick with tension. The gun remained in Sophie's hand. Rose's breath hitched. She could see the pain in Sophie's eyes, but it was mixed with something darker, something cold. In that moment, Rose realized that she had pushed Sophie too far. She had lost her best friend, and for what? A man? Sophie's finger hovered over the trigger. Her face was unreadable, the anger still burning, but there was something else there now. A deep, soul-crushing sadness. Sophie, do you regret it? Taking everything from me?